At 3 a.m. this morning, a specific, terrifying number flashed across the institutional trading desks in London and then vanished. It wasn't on CNBC. It wasn't on your Twitter feed. It was a liquidity gap in the energy futures market that technically shouldn't exist. The repo market for oil-backed collateral froze completely. For 11 minutes, there was no bid. Zero. In the sanitized language of Wall Street, they call this a dislocation. That is a lie. That is a polite word for a heart attack. The petrodollar system, the invisible architecture that has allowed you to buy cheap goods and cheap fuel for 50 years, just suffered a stroke. The data is irrefutable. We are not looking at a geopolitical skirmish. We are looking at the mathematics of a terminal phase. The peace dividend is gone. It has been replaced by kinetic resource acquisition, and the epicenter of this earthquake is not Washington, D.C. It is the Strait of Hormuz. Let's look at the raw data coming out of Iran. Forget the political theater. Look at the mechanics. The Iranian Rial has collapsed. When a currency dies, the social contract dissolves. We are seeing a repetition of 1979, but on a scale that makes history look like a dress rehearsal. Oil workers are striking. This is not a protest. This is a withdrawal of labor. When the men who turn the valves stop working because their money buys nothing, the oil stops flowing. We are talking about 4 million barrels per day at risk. But that is just the surface wound. The arterial bleed is the strait itself. The arc of instability is now complete, stretching from the Andes Mountains to the Persian Gulf. The intelligence reports I'm reading this morning confirm that the risk of a dying regime closing the Strait of Hormuz has moved from theoretical to imminent. This is the suicide pill, the Samson option. If that strait closes, even for a week, the global logistics chain doesn't just slow down, it breaks. We are already seeing the warning shots. Drone attacks on tankers like the Matilda in the Black Sea were just the preamble. They were testing the waters. Literally. Now, the real chokehold begins. And here is where the math gets violent. The United States administration has threatened 25% tariffs on anyone doing business with Iran. This is a direct shot at China. It is a declaration of economic warfare against the world's factory. You cannot sanction the world's largest importer of energy without breaking the world's supply chain. China will retaliate. They will not retaliate with angry letters. They will retaliate by hoarding physical assets. We are already seeing it. The Shanghai Gold Exchange is vacuuming up silver, creating a massive premium over the West. They are draining the physical metal while we play with paper contracts. This brings us to the lie they are going to tell you tonight. The White House and the Federal Reserve will come out and blame speculators. They will blame hoarders. They will call this transitory supply chain friction. Do not believe them. This is a structural collapse of the energy money matrix. You cannot print oil. You cannot print a tanker ship. You cannot print a safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. These are physical realities. The Federal Reserve can print infinite amounts of confetti money, but they cannot print the diesel fuel required to mine the silver that goes into the solar panels they claim will save us. See the trap? They are pushing for a green transition at the exact moment the energy required to build it is being taken off the table. The cost of mining is about to go vertical. Marginal mines, the ones that produce a little bit of gold and silver when prices are stable, are going to shut down. They cannot afford the diesel. They cannot afford the insurance. The supply of real money, gold and silver, is becoming inelastic. It doesn't matter if the paper price goes to $100. If the mine can't get fuel, the metal stays in the ground. And this leads us to the most dangerous part of the equation, your retirement. The 60/40 portfolio is dead. It is a corpse that hasn't started smelling yet. Why? Because when energy costs spike due to the Hormuz blockade, inflation rips higher. When inflation rips, bonds crash. Your safe allocation, the 40% of your portfolio that was supposed to protect you, will fall in tandem with your stocks. There is no hedge in the paper world. They know this. The bureaucrats know this. The actuaries at the PBGC, the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, know this. We have seen the internal data. The PBGC is functionally insolvent. They cannot cover the coming wave of corporate bankruptcies. So, what is the solution? Nationalization. They won't call it that. They will call it a guaranteed retirement account or a patriot bond. They will say it is for your safety. They will say the market is too volatile for you to manage your own money. They will offer to swap your crashing 401k assets for a government-guaranteed annuity. Do not take the deal. It is a trap. It is a way for them to liquidate your real assets, to buy their own worthless debt. They are funding their machine with your life savings. And once you are in that system, you are subject to means testing. This is the phrase that should keep you awake at night. Means testing. When the energy crisis hits home, when gas is $10 a gallon, the government will issue energy relief checks. They have to. If they don't, the cities burn. But these checks will come with strings, CBDC strings. If you have too much savings, if you hold speculative assets like gold or silver, you will not qualify. They will punish the prudent to bail out the reckless. They will redefine your wealth as excess. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the logic of a bankrupt state. The substitution effect is already in play. Watch the CPI numbers. They will tell you inflation is 3%. But look at your grocery bill. They are swapping steak for ground beef and ground beef for soy filler in the basket of goods. They are measuring the price of survival, not the price of living. They are hiding the collapse of your standard of living behind statistical legerdemain. And the human cost? It will be visible in every neighborhood. We are entering the era of unretirement. You will see it. Men and women in their 70 seconds. People who played by the rules. People who saved in 401ks forced back into the workforce. Driving Ubers, stocking shelves, competing with teenagers for minimum wage jobs because their fixed income cannot buy heating oil. This will trigger the generational war. The young cannot afford homes. The old cannot afford to die. The social fabric tears. The youth will resent the elderly for hoarding housing. The elderly will resent the youth for the taxes needed to support the system. This division is intentional. It keeps you fighting each other instead of looking at the real enemy, the printing press. The fiat currency experiment is ending. The dollar is an IOU from a bankrupt entity. It is confetti. It relies on the Petrodollar agreement, the deal that Saudi Arabia and OPEC price oil in dollars. That deal died effectively this morning in the Strait of Hormuz. If Iran closes the strait and China is the only one buying oil in yuan or gold, the dollar has no anchor. It drifts into the abyss. So what is the exit? There is only one asset that has no counterparty risk. One asset that is not a liability on someone else's balance sheet. One asset that is the antidote to the poison of fiat currency. Silver. I am not talking about SLV. I am not talking about paper contracts on the COMEX. Those are claims on metal that doesn't exist. The registered inventory at COMEX has plummeted by 70% since 2020. The cupboards are bare. We are days away from a force majeure declaration. When the bullion banks, the cartel that suppresses the price, can no longer deliver physical bars to the industrial users like Apple and Tesla, the game ends. Silver is not just a shiny rock. It is a strategic material. It is the best conductor of electricity known to man. It is essential for Tomahawk missiles. It is essential for solar panels. It is essential for the digital age. And here is the beautiful irony. Silver reprices your labor. Right now, you work for dollars that lose value while you sleep. You are running on a treadmill that is speeding up. Silver freezes your labor in time. It preserves the caloric energy you expended to earn it. When you hold physical silver, you are holding a battery of economic energy that cannot be diluted by a bureaucrat in Washington or held hostage by a closure in the Strait of Hormuz. The math is simple. The supply is collapsing due to the Project 2026 bans in Mexico and the chaos in Peru. The demand is vertical due to war and green energy. The price manipulation is breaking because the physical metal is gone. This is a bank run, but not on a bank. It is a run on the periodic table of elements. The insiders know this. Why do you think central banks are buying gold at a record pace? Why do you think China is banning exports? They are building a lifeboat. The window to act is closing. Once the force majeure is declared, you won't be able to buy silver with paper dollars. You will only be able to buy it with other real assets, or you won't get it at all. The premiums will go to 100%, then infinity. The paper price on your screen will become a museum, exhibit a relic of a time when people thought paper was money. We are watching the butterfly effect in real time. A decision in Tehran, a drone in the Black Sea, a strike in Mexico. They are converging into a single point of failure. Do not look for a savior. The cavalry is not coming. The PBGC is broke. The government is cornered. They have two choices: default on their promises or hyperinflate the currency. They will choose hyperinflation. They always do. It is the path of least resistance. It allows them to pretend they are paying you while giving you money that buys nothing. You must build your own central bank. You must become your own insurance policy. Look at your family. Look at your children. The system has failed them. Do not let it fail you. Establish a multi-generational household. Pool your resources. Get out of the cities if you can. But above all, get out of the paper. The bidet is running dry. The water is gone. The tub is cracking. Do not despair. Prepare. You are the safety.